Hey everyone! Welcome back to BL Paglu. I'm Crush, and today I'm bringing you something special. This is Nothing Left Behind, a Zoro x Sanji fanfiction set right after the Thriller Bark arc. It picks up from that iconic "nothing happened" moment, except in this version, something did. In this three-part story, Zoro and Sanji are already in love, though they don't always say it out loud. There's pain, passion, and all the tension we never got to see on screen. So grab your headphones and dive in. This is Crush. This is Nothing Left Behind. Part 1. He bleeds like he doesn't belong to me. Sanji smelled blood before he saw it. Thick in the mist. Iron and salt and something wrong. The kind of wrong that seeps under your skin before your brain catches up. He found Zoro at the edge of the cliff. Standing, barely. Zoro. His voice didn't carry like it usually did. It broke halfway through. The swordsman didn't turn. Just swayed slightly in the fog, legs stiff, arms loose at his sides. His shirt was torn. Soaked. There was blood everywhere. Chest, hip, thighs. Some of it fresh. Some dried and cracking. What the hell did you do? Sanji asked, sharper now, rushing forward. Still, Zoro didn't move. Didn't answer. Sanji's boots skidded on blood-wet stone. He grabbed Zoro by the arm, gently, but firm. Answer me. Nothing, Zoro muttered. His voice was hoarse, distant. It's done. Don't you fucking say that to me. Sanji's grip tightened. I've been looking for you since the fight ended. You weren't there. You weren't anywhere. And now you're standing here like some half-dead statue pretending this is fine. Zoro's body leaned into him a fraction, whether from weakness or something else, Sanji didn't know. He caught him, studied him. Zoro's head dipped, hair casting his eyes in shadow. He's safe. That's what matters. Sanji's jaw clenched so hard he nearly cracked a tooth. So you just decided to throw yourself into hell for him? Without even blinking? Zoro didn't answer. Sanji exhaled through his nose. Furious. Shaken. You think I wouldn't have done the same? He said low. You think I wouldn't have stood there if I'd gotten there first? Zoro looked at him now. Eyes dull with exhaustion, but still steady. I knew you would, he said. Then why? Because, Zoro cut in, voice barely above a whisper. I couldn't watch it happen to you. Sanji froze. The air between them shifted. Still cold, but full now. Heavy with everything neither of them had ever said out loud. Sanji looked at him, really looked. At the blood, the shaking, the quiet pride holding his body together with nothing but willpower. At the stupid, selfish bastard who hadn't even thought of what it would do to Sanji if he had died. You think this is noble? Sanji whispered. You think this was some grand fucking gesture? Zoro flinched. Barely. But it was there. You idiot, Sanji muttered, hands still on his arm. You absolute fucking idiot. Zoro's lips parted like he wanted to reply, but Sanji was already moving. He pulled Zoro against him. Not to hold him up. To hold him close. Zoro's breath hitched. I thought, Sanji said, voice breaking against his chest. I thought I'd find you dead. I didn't die, Zoro murmured. No, Sanji said. You just bled like you didn't belong to me. Zoro went still. Then, very slowly, he leaned in. Forehead against Sanji's shoulder. Weak, but real. Sanji closed his eyes. The wind pulled at their clothes. The fog curled around their legs. Nothing moved for a long, long moment. Then Sanji whispered, next time you try to die for someone, make damn sure it's not without me. Zoro didn't answer. But the way his hand gripped the back of Sanji's coat said enough. End of part 1. Part 2. The things Sanji does without thinking. The walk back to the Sunny was quiet. Zoro didn't say a word. Could barely keep his footing. Sanji had one arm around his waist, the other braced under his ribs, holding him up without thinking or maybe thinking too much. Zoro didn't protest. That scared Sanji more than anything. By the time they reached the deck, dawn was threatening the horizon. The sea was still. The air smelled like salt and blood. Chopper was waiting, eyes wide the second he saw them. Sanji. What? What happened? He's hurt, Sanji said. Bad. Chopper's nose twitched. I can smell it, come on, get him inside. Sanji didn't let go, not even when the reindeer started fluttering around them. Not when they entered the infirmary. Not even when Zoro grumbled that he could walk. Shut up, Sanji said. You're not impressing anyone. Zoro didn't argue. That scared him, too. Sanji helped him down onto the infirmary bed, easing his weight like something fragile. Chopper rushed to grab supplies. Sanji stayed. Chopper worked in silence, his small hands surprisingly steady as he cleaned the blood away. Sanji watched every movement, the way Zoro flinched once, then went still. The way his knuckles tightened when Chopper pressed against cracked ribs. Sanji stood by the door, arms crossed, but he wasn't relaxed. He couldn't stop staring. Zoro, half naked and broken open, bruised in too many places, wrapped in bandages like a promise no one kept. Sanji wanted to scream, or hit him, or kiss him until it hurt. Instead, he stayed silent. When Chopper finally pulled off his gloves and gave a small nod, he'll live, but he needs rest, Sanji didn't move. Zoro's eyes were closed now. Breathing slow. Face relaxed. Chopper tiptoed out. Sanji didn't. He walked over. Sat down beside the bed. Lit a cigarette, then didn't smoke it. The silence sat heavy between them. You should have told me, Sanji said quietly. Zoro huffed. Exactly. That's not the point. Then what is it? Sanji leaned forward. His voice dropped. The point is, you hurt yourself. And you didn't even give me the chance to say no. Zoro opened his eyes. They stared at each other. Tension thick enough to choke on. I couldn't let you get in the way, Zoro said, slow and low. Sanji's throat burned. So you made the choice for both of us. Zoro didn't look away. You always do that, Sanji whispered. Shut everyone out. Pretend pain doesn't mean anything. But I'm not everyone. Zoro blinked. I know. You could have died. I didn't. That doesn't fucking matter. Sanji's hands curled into fists. His cigarette burned down between his fingers. You belong to this crew, he said, voice shaking. To him. Sure. But to me too. You don't get to forget that. Zoro stared at him. Something behind his eyes softened. Just barely. I didn't forget, he said. That's the problem. Sanji froze. Zoro's gaze dropped to his lips. Then lower. Then back up. Sanji's chest tightened. He reached out without thinking, a hand brushing against Zoro's, barely a touch. Zoro didn't move. Sanji leaned in, just enough that he could feel Zoro's breath. Their foreheads nearly touched. But still, no kiss. Too much. Too raw. So Sanji pulled back. You're not allowed to do that again, he said, barely audible. I won't, Zoro murmured. Not if you're there next time. Sanji's heart stuttered. You mean that? Zoro didn't blink. I don't say things I don't mean. Their hands stayed close. Not touching, but close enough to feel the heat. Neither of them moved. Not yet. Part 3. We burn the same. Sanji didn't sleep that night. He sat by Zoro's bedside long after the lights had dimmed, watching him breathe. Watched the way his chest rose and fell beneath clean bandages. Watched the way his fingers twitched every time a breeze from the cracked window brushed over him. Zoro had always been made of sharp lines and silence. But tonight, he looked soft. Human. And it scared the hell out of Sanji. Because he cared. Because he had always cared. He stood up quietly, grabbed a folded blanket from the shelf, and draped it over Zoro's legs. He didn't have to. Zoro ran hot even in winter. But it gave his hands something to do. Something that wasn't grabbing him by the collar and yelling until it hurt. He was halfway to the door when he heard it. Stay. The word was barely louder than the wind. But Sanji froze like he'd been struck. He turned slowly. Zoro hadn't moved, but his eyes were open, watching. What? I said stay. Sanji's mouth was dry. Why? Zoro looked at him like it was obvious. Like the fact that they hadn't kissed yet was some kind of cosmic joke. Because I need you to. Sanji stepped forward, slow. You almost died. I didn't. You almost did, Sanji repeated, voice harder now. And you didn't even say goodbye. I didn't plan to. That's worse, Sanji snapped. You thought it'd be okay to disappear. To leave me here without even saying. I didn't want to leave you. Silence. Sanji's chest rose and fell too fast. Zoro pushed himself upright with a quiet groan. The blanket slid off his lap. His arms trembled, but he didn't stop. You piss me off, he said. Every damn day. But if I had to die for someone, it'd be you. Sanji blinked. You're such a bastard. I know. And then Sanji crossed the room in 2 long strides and grabbed him by the front of the blanket and kissed him. It wasn't graceful. It wasn't soft. It was months, maybe years of tension and anger and wanting, all crushed between teeth and breath and blood. Zoro didn't flinch. He kissed back like it hurt to stop. Sanji's hands tangled in Zoro's hair. Zoro gripped Sanji's waist like it was the only thing keeping him upright. When they finally pulled apart, they were both breathing hard. Zoro's forehead rested against Sanji's. You're the only person who makes me feel like this, he whispered. Sanji's hands were still on his face. Like what? Like I want to live. Sanji didn't answer. He just pressed their mouths together again, slower this time, but no less desperate. It wasn't about the kiss. It was about what they couldn't say. About what they'd almost lost. About all the pieces that had been breaking slowly, quietly, behind their arguments and insults and side glances. Sanji pulled back just enough to whisper against his lips. You ever do that again, walk into something like that alone, and I'll kill you myself. Zoro smirked. Deal. They stayed like that for a while. Arms around each other. Lips brushing, breathing shared, hearts finally, beating in the same rhythm. They didn't need to say anything else. Not tonight. End of part 3/end of FIC. Thanks for listening to Nothing Left Behind here on BL Pagler. I've spent way too many hours reading fanfiction, and always wished I could just listen to it like a good story podcast, so now I'm making that dream real. If you loved this Zosan slow burn, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your shipwrecks, story ideas, or just scream together about Sanji's feelings. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned. More audio fanfics are on the way.